Hey everybody, it's Scotty from Scotty's Record Shop with my second video for June. I'm lucky if I get one video out a month, but I guess I'm inspired or something. I just recently had a birthday, and I thought it would be interesting to look at records that came out the year I was born. The year I was born was 1966. Even though this happened 2 years ago, I still, and I want to thank Robert Z. If you don't know who Robert Z is, look him up on YouTube. Wonderful guy, great videos. A couple years ago, he was on this making videos for everybody in the VC's birthday kick, and he play songs and say things that happened in the year that you were born, and it was awesome. And every once in a while, when I'm feeling down, Robert, I still go to that thing, and it just makes me so happy. So, thanks again, buddy. Even though this was done before, there were a lot of new people in YouTube. YouTube land, the vinyl community land, that weren't here 2 years ago when we did this. There were a bunch of people who made videos of records that were released the year you were born. So if you want to do that, feel free and start this thread up again. It's always interesting, and maybe you did one before, but you found other records in 2 years. I'm sure you found a few records in 2 years. So anyway, I got quite a little pile here. I'm going to be playing some of these on my radio show this week as well. So actually playing vinyl records. Be kind of cool. All right, let's deal with the Beatles first. Of course, Revolver. Rubber Soul, which came out at the beginning of 1966. I should have grabbed it, but there's a collection of oldies, which is a greatest hits comp. Wait a minute. No, I'm not going to bother jumping out of frame doing it. I'm trying to think right where it is, but they put that out in England in 1966. Yesterday and Today. This is the cover you guys, most everybody has. You've got this album. But this was the original cover right here. This is the Butcher cover. Yes. And I know that in case you've never seen my videos before and have seen this, this is an original. It's a third state. It's a peeled but in great shape. Mono. Butcher cover. Okay, on to other stuff. I didn't classify this with soul or anything. It's just a pile that I have here. So, Neil Diamond's first LP. A great record as well for Neil Diamond. Again, from Neil Diamond to Otis Redding. Came out in 66. Great Otis Redding album. What can you say about this one? Probably one of the most important records. At least definitely in 1966. The Beach Boys and Pet Sounds. Wonderful album. A very underrated and unknown record, but I love this record. People talk about the Velvet Underground and stuff being innovative. Before the Velvet Underground, there was the Fugs. And this is just a warped, beautifully warped album from 1966, The Fugs. Speaking of beautifully warped, this did time out perfectly here. This is beautifully warped. The beginning of Frank Zappa's illustrious career with Freak Out, Mothers of Adventure. Wonderful double album. How about John Mayall and the Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton? This is an original press from 1966. It's a stereo, I believe. I do believe, yeah. 1966 on London, here in America, anyway. Look at some Stones albums, shall we? Aftermath. This is the American pressing of Aftermath on London. It's a pressing from, I don't know, early 70s, I believe. Okay, towards the end of 66, they put out a live album. Got Live If You Want It. Again, this is an early 70s pressing in London. Ooh. Their first greatest hits package. This is an original pressing. This is a stereo pressing, I do believe, of this great collection of early Stones. Speaking of collections, I love this album. I'm pretty sure this came out in 66. If it came out in 67, early 67, I apologize, but I seem to remember 66 with this. Dusty Springfield. This is a wonderful collection of her stuff on Philips here in America. Of course, 66 was the year of the Monkees. Their first LP. And, make sure I get this right, their second LP. They were just a little popular in 1966. Just a little. Love this album. The Animals, I think this is my favorite. One of my I don't know if this is my favorite Animals album or not, but pretty darn close to it. 1966. This is the American pressing. I'm pretty sure it has different track listing than the UK. Go to Motown now. Stevie Wonder, Uptight. Put out 2 albums in 1966. He put out that one and Down to Earth. This is a original mono pressing of this on Tamla. Sticking with the Motown thing, I Hear a Symphony, released at the beginning of 1966. Wonderful album. And Supremes, A Go-Go, another great record from the Supremes from 66. Mellow out a little bit. Simon and Garfunkel. This is an original mono pressing on the 2i Columbia of The Sounds of Silence. This may have been released right at the end of 65, you know, but it really hit in 66, the beginning of 66. This one I know for sure was issued in 66. Parsley Sage, Rosemary and Thyme. This is an original, but it's a stereo 2i Columbia. Let's see, that actually is not relevant. The beginning of the Buffalo Springfield. This is an original pressing. Stereo. The Byrds. Fifth Dimension. Yeah, I almost said 8th Dimension. 5th Dimension. I'm thinking 8 Miles High. Great album. Original pressing. Stereo. The Left Bank. Remember them? The song Walk Away Renee and Tiny Ballerina. Both of them from this LP. This is an original stereo, I believe, on Bang Records. Lovin' Spoonful. They did put out a couple of albums. This is my favorite, though, from that year. I could look up there and grab the other one. I'm not going to waste your time. But this was the one that I liked the most. Hymns of the Lovin' Spoonful. 1966. This guy put out several albums. This is just the one I chose to pull. Frank Sinatra. And which one did I? Oh, yeah. Strangers in the Night. An original Caprice pressing. Cream and their first LP, US pressing on Atco. The original Atco is the stereo pressing. I couldn't not show this. My daughters hate this guy. I've got some teenage daughters that just, whenever I put on Bob Dylan, they go berserk. They just do not like Dylan. They will never appreciate Dylan. They never will. This is a mono. This is actually from that box set, actually. Mono box set. Wonderful sounding. Blonde on Blonde. Double album. Wonderful from Dylan. The Mamas and Papas put out 2 LPs in 66. This is the one I chose to pull. I wish I had the original first without this here, because the toilet was there. You can see the top of the toilet. I don't know what the big scandal was about having a toilet on your record cover in 1966, but it was a scandal. So they removed it shortly thereafter. So great record from the Mamas and the Papas. Huh? Speaking of great records, from Goes Without Saying, this is a second pressing from 1969, band Love, and their first LP, which originally came out in 1966. A few more. This was the album that was #1 on the day I was born. Just for your information, this #1 song on the day I was born was Paint It Black by the Stones, which was from Aftermath, which I showed you earlier. But the #1 album was this one, from Herb Alpert, and the Tijuana Brass. That was the album that was #1 on the day I was born. And it's a stereo original pressing, in great shape. This is an oddity, but interesting. Guy only had one big hit. He was here and he was gone. Staff Sergeant Barry Sadler. He had the hit single Green Beret, which went all the way to #1 in 1966. Very patriotic music. A couple more. Even though this album says 1967, it did come out at the end of 1966. The Spirit of '67. Paul Revere and the Raiders. They had another album that came out in '66 as well, and I should have grabbed that, but I didn't. It's up there. Or over there. One of the shows. I don't remember. Okay, this last one. I only have this on a compilation. Well, it's not a compilation, but it's 2 albums in one. But it's this one right here. Happy Jack. Or a quick one if you were in another country. That came out in 1966 as well from The Who. Alrighty. Went a little longer than I thought it would. A lot of other great records that came out in '66 as well. Maybe you can add to the list right down there. Just in the comment section say, you know, the Yardbirds. What was the album that they put out in '66? Roger the Engineer. Right? A bunch of other stuff that I didn't think or I don't own on vinyl or whatever. Well, anyway. Thank you as always for watching the videos. I hope you subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll be back again sooner or later. Until next time, peace and love.